Great. Yeah, no, I'll start off because, I want to talk a little bit about our assessment program that we have starting out, that we have broken down into overall 4 sections. The first being conducting an organizational profile, then moving to the Baldrige Express to do an assessment of both process level and results, then moving from there to go to performance analytics, and finally to go through findings and recommendations. So, Dean, if you don't mind, would you talk a little bit about the organizational profile approach?
Sure. One of the advantages of doing an organizational profile with any assessment is understanding a little bit about the organization, asking the kinds of questions that you would want to know about how they're organized. Where are their facilities? What are their assets? What are the segments of their customers and their employees? And do they have a bunch of volunteers? And how does that all factor into how they run their business? It's just sort of who are they? And the second part is sort of about your organizational challenges, where you're looking at the situation, your competitive environment. You're building a product, you got competitors. How do you stack up against your competitors? Where are you in the marketplace? What are the competitive changes? The other guys are building a new product. Do you have to keep up with them in order to sell your product? Comparative data. How do all your different performance metrics that you care about compare against the competitors? Consumers are going to choose what you have compared to them, and how you stack up is the comparative data. And then strategic context is what are your strategic challenges and your advantages, and overall, how do you improve things? What's your performance improvement system? So it could be a DMAIC or a PDSA or Lean or something like that you use to improve things all across the organization. The more broadly you do it, the better. And this will show you some gaps potentially in how you're organized and what your organizational situation is. So it's a really good baseline that whenever we make comments about how you're leading or doing customer service, or how you're building your products, or the results you're getting, all comes back to the relevance of how you're organized. Unlike ISO, which tends to actually just say, well, here's the rules, and if you're not following the rules, you're not certified. You have to have specific documents in place. This says, who are you, that we can use to make relevant comments about where you could improve and what are your strengths.
Okay, thanks. And Bob, after we go through the organizational profile and we understand the organization's context and what it is they do, how does Baldrige Express give us the next layer?
Well, Baldrige Express is a web-based survey tool that allows us to collect perceptions from a broad base of stakeholders in an organization, which kind of helps you to assure that you get the perceptions of everybody in the organization. You just don't get a few of the leaders at the top. It does this in a way that is connected to the Baldrige framework, which is a recognized performance or excellence model, and it provides a large number of analytics. Because what it does, it takes this data and then evaluates it for us, and it helps us point to areas where improvement priorities might lie. It also provides some benchmarking data using the industrial classification scheme. So that's kind of step 2 in the process.
Okay, thanks. So now we've built the overall organizational profile, and we've gotten several people's viewpoints as far as their process levels and maturity and the results. From there, Phil, how do we use performance analytics to enhance our role?
Well, we begin with, as Bob said, the Baldrige Express results, and then we actually go to the clients and we engage with people at all levels within the organization, from the C-suite down to the receiving dock, so that we can get not only the way it ought to be, which I think is what might come from the top, but the way it actually is from the guys who are actually doing the work. So we need to spend time with them, developing a relationship, getting their trust so that they'll be candid. So that they're not trying to hold anything back, make sure they don't think, oh, I can't tell him what really goes on, I might get in trouble. We need to move beyond that and develop a relationship to gather all of that, both quantitatively and qualitatively. And then by going through all the different functions that we're looking to build, all the detailed information that we began with the organisation profile, started to flesh out with the Baldrige Express, we can really get to the detail of all of the data, what's actually going on, so that we can build up a good solid model that's going to give us reliable data.
Okay, thanks. And then, of course, the final piece of the puzzle is putting together a deliverable for the client with our findings and recommendations. Al, would you like to go through that step?
Yes, the finding and recommendations section pulls it all together. It's important to do the other three, otherwise we really don't know enough about the organization to report on it. And what we want to be able to bring to the client is our independent observation as what we found either through the organizational profile that gives us a good background, as Dean had mentioned, using the Baldrige Express to learn more about the strengths and the weakness opportunities for improvement. And then the performance analysis gives us an idea of where the client stands relative to their competition and what they have to do to improve their position in that area. So we bring it all together in finding and recommendations, and at this point in time, the client realizes that we know in depth some of his challenges, some of the opportunities, and how we can help him improve his operating and financial performance.
Well, thank you all very much. I think this clearly outlines our overall assessment process.